Hi guys, Ronnie here and welcome to the workshop. Today I want to show you a very special new product that we have just started stocking, and these particular units will be used for customer builds for bikes that we will be building in the next few weeks. And I thought this would be the best option for those as it's a new release. But if you want any of these, then of course we can create a configuration for your own needs as well. So what this is the new SYNC Ergonomics AB or Aerobar 3 all the way from Australia. And I have to be honest, I've been eyeing SYNC products for quite a while now. I just think that those 3D printed titanium bars that they used to do, they were pretty amazing and probably the coolest thing you could put on a bike. And now, well, because of the cost that was quite prohibitive, even I didn't go for them, and I really wanted to. But now they have this carbon modular system that pretty much mimics those Aerobars, and you can fine-tune them with a whole lot of options. And it's an alternative, much better made alternative to something like the Aerocoach Ascalons or the Wattshop Anemoi. So this is what the Aerobars look like in a kind of a semi-assembled state. Now let's have a closer look of how this works, what are the customization options and the costs and all the small parts, what you get, etc. So the main thing that is the base of the bar itself is the carbon extension, which is this part. It's a really beautifully made product in general, and this is probably done with some bladders inside. Like, it's a really clean finish, and it's adjustable in length in the bracket, as you can see, and the bar itself is available in 3 different sizes, this being the small. Actually, these will be mostly UCI categorized bikes. So luckily SYNC also have a handy option on their or a table on their website, so you can choose the best possible option for your kind of fit. So in this case, all 3 customers required the small, but there's also a medium and a large, which are longer and presumably wider as well. But all of them can be adjusted via this slider. So let me just disassemble the arm pads to show you how it works. All of the components and parts use Torx hardware, really high quality hardware at that, so that's another thing that I'm quite happy about. Now let's have a look at what is underneath. This particular version is made for triathlon, so for that we also have a BTA bottle cage mount in this 3D printed version. Although, again, this is not your regular 3D printing, this is selective layer synthesis, so it's much more durable, much stronger than basically all the other products that you get from other 3D printing companies. It's really, really nicely made, really tough. And yeah, it just has a very premium look to it, and that applies to all of the components. There's quite a bit of 3D printed components actually. So the BTA mount, as I said, the arm pads, these little covers, and the end grips, the computer mount bridge. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest is, well, the main body, as I said, is carbon, and the rest is machined aluminum, so really high quality hardware throughout. As you can see, the position of the pads, even within one system, is adjustable in terms of width and also reach, so that's really nice. And as you can see, there's this wedge clamp style bracket and installation that enables you to adjust the length of the extensions. And there are also these caps that cover the whole thing, which basically make the assembly easier. They cover the bolts, so the sweat doesn't get in there. the dirt doesn't get in there, and also hides the internal wiring, makes it easier to do. So that's the main bracket. Then if we go to the clamps, these are also made in different widths and lengths, so you can, again, based on the table, fine-tune your own needs. And then there's this bottom section, which then goes onto the spacers that are also included. I'll show you later. And this is how the angle itself is adjusted via changing these. So it's a really, really modular system, and really well thought out as well, easy to adjust, and assembly takes just a few minutes really. Another separate part that we have here are the grippers, which are really comfortable, and they're made in different versions. So this is the UCI version, even though it's a triathlon bar, the customer really liked this one, but there's a kind of a full length version with the full length gripper that you can hold all the way. And there's this one for Shimano. This is for the SWR 9150 sprint shifter, which is pretty widely used in bars like these. This is just the best option. And then there's also, of course, a version for the SRAM wireless blips, in case that's your preference in terms of drivetrain. So in any case, these are removable, and you got a nice big opening in there, again, to aid with wiring and installation, and of course it makes it more modular, as you can change those. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. Then we got a bridge for stiffness and also for mounting the computer. Another thing that's quite unique about this bar is that they use kind of it's not a fixed design, so you have to turn the computer, which is really quite problematic in a lot of Aerobar setups. Here you get a twisting computer mount, which enables you to just place the computer inside and lock it. That's a really neat touch. Then you got laser cut foam pads all the way, really nicely installed as well. So another very neat piece of design. And the same goes for the pads. Again, these are made in two sizes, 3D printed as I mentioned earlier. And actually the padding is split into 3 sections, and there are extremely fine details applied to this as well, because there are these guide marks, so you can align the pads when you are gluing them to have a really, really neat finish. So all the bases are covered basically. Let me just show you the pads themselves. These are self-adhesive and they're just glued on, but you get 3 pairs, so spares are covered as well. And as you can see, you can just use these nice guide markings to have it installed very neatly on there, exactly where it needs to be. The side panels are relatively thin, around 2 millimeters. This one is thicker at, I would say, 4 to 5 millimeters. This is where you need the comfort and where all of your pressure will go, so that makes sense. And you also don't need to change the whole pad when doing the adjustments. So yeah, also neatly thought out. So these are the pads. Then we got the side pads also in the thinner material for the arm cups. For the base bar, you can also order these foam grips, which I've seen on a customer's bike a while ago, and I really liked them. At that point I was not working with SYNC yet as a dealer, so I didn't get them. But now that Silca have discontinued their Aero bar tape for time trial bikes, I think this is probably the best option out there. Really grippy, really neat. Obviously not so easy to install, but yeah, excellent little product. Like basically everything from SYNC that I've seen so far. And then we have the riser hardware. So the base of this is always a bike specific riser. So here we have the one for the track base bar, as you can maybe recognize if you have a bike like this, and then this moves to the side either way depending on how wide you want the setup to be. There are 2 to 3 options for every bike. Notably, the bikes available now: Trek, as you can see, Giant, K-Dex. We have Colnago TT1 here and S-Works Shiv TT. There are Factor Hanzo versions, which Israel Premier Tech uses now, and I think also for the Pinarello Bolide, but probably there will be more of these options available pretty soon in the near future, if there's demand for them, of course. But these, I think, cover quite a lot of the popular bikes that are being used nowadays, and notably the high-end options which you would want this to work with. So the bottom of this kind of a transition spacer is specific to the base bar, and the upper end is then universal to the SYNC system. So it's kind of a transition, as I said. So yeah, this is the base, and then on top of it you order the now universal SYNC risers, which look like this. The bottom of this is threaded, so it's all clamped down from the top for ease of installation. And then you get regular risers like these, and you can basically order any amount of these as you want to fine-tune your setup. So you get 10 mils, 20 mils, and yeah, more 10 and 20 mils. The Trek doesn't require quite a lot of stack in it, so we don't have a huge amount of these. For something like a Colnago, of course, you get quite a bit more stack. Then we also have another very neat touch, and that is the stiffening bridge. In case you're using a higher amount of stack, this would usually go between the top of the riser stack and the base, or the Aerobar, sorry, to make it just stiffer and better at handling. It's probably also laser cut from carbon fiber sheet. Again, very nicely machined, or very nicely done. And to finish it off, we have the required steel hardware for the risers. These are, well, it's nothing special, obviously, it's just M5 bolts, but you get them in 5mm increments for all the configurations that are present with this riser kit. So again, that's very well thought out. Everything is clearly labeled, clamp, cradle, spacer. Yeah, so as you can see, it's a really high-end, really well thought out product where everything, all the bases are covered, and you get a whole lot of customization options. So this is our first shipment of these bars. As I said, these will go on customer bikes mainly. And originally, these customers wanted to go to Spico aluminum 3D printed bars like I have, but they also wanted to do aero testing, and for that you need an adjustable setup first. Then you need to test and take the measurements from the final version, but generally all those bars end up looking fairly similarly. So then I saw this and I thought to myself that we can skip this one step and a long wait of the custom process, and it's just a more neat, more future-proof solution, which enables you to make adjustments relatively easily, transfer it to a different bike, and yeah, it's just probably a lot, or not probably, but it is a lot better made than the Spico parts. Those are, well, a bit crude, being completely one-off and 3D printed throughout. So yeah, that's why I decided to nudge them into this direction. I'm really happy now with seeing the product and how it is and how everything fits. So yeah, I think that was a good decision. And yeah, there's quite possible that I will use these on my upcoming bikes in the future as well, because yeah, I'm really satisfied, as I said. So if you're interested in getting some of these in Europe and need some guidance on how to set up yours, and then maybe do some aero testing and do the final setup to make it as fast as possible, of course we can do that for you as well. And you can reach us via the links below to inquire about that. Of course, we'll show you these on the final builds as soon as they're ready. There's a possibility that I will use them on my own Colnago as well to do some testing, just to see how these perform. As for the downsides that I can see now, well, if you're ordering it as a private customer, then of course there's the hassle of importing from Australia, but we are taking care of that for you in this case. Then yeah, there's actually, the adjustability can be quite daunting if you don't have experience with this, but that's something we can also help you with to make recommendations and suggest different products and variations of this. Then there's the price, of course. It's a, as I said, very premium product, comes at a premium price point as well, which is around 30% more than the Aerocoach Ascalons, but below the Wattshop Anemoi, while also being, in my mind, a better option. And also the price is comparable to the Speco full custom Aerobars. The only part where they might be lacking is that they're probably slightly heavier, but you know, it's not really a performance consideration in a product like this, particularly for time trial bikes. Those usually weigh around 400 grams per 400 to 500 grams per side. So let's just check what this is. Okay, so let's just check the weight of this complete setup along with the BTA mount. Obviously I can't mount the spacers and the bridge to it, but that's going to depend on your setup anyway. Actually no, it comes in a slight bit lighter than what we usually get from Speco, so that's not even a downside. Anyway, 780 grams for this whole lot. That's pretty good for an adjustable setup. It probably could only be made lighter if it was full custom one-piece carbon, but yeah, that's a ridiculously expensive option. So anyway, here's what we have. We'll post you some updates about the future builds that these will use, and possibly also the aero testing results. So if you're interested in that, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.